Another exercise called an object clone, which you basically can clone your shape, like a cube or whatever, along another shape. So it becomes like the template for the other clone. So here we have a torus shape, which is like a donut, and then I'm applying a formula to it called the deformer right here. And so we're going to do this today and see how it goes and have some fun with that. And then tomorrow we'll do another type of object clone. And then we'll do another one the next day, another next day. So we'll have a bunch in our little repertoire of things to do when we do our overall design. Remember, our goal here at the end of all these exercises of doing motion graphics is to take and have 6 things animating in an overall design, and you can draw from all these exercises that you're doing. So let's start off today with a cube. I think I'll just copy the cube from, here's another type of object clone with a formula. We're going to do the jellyfish today. So I'm just going to copy that cube so I don't have to remake it. And then we'll start with a new file and paste that cube. And there it is, floating up there in space. And I can put it back down here on coordinate 0. Doesn't have to be floating up there in the sky. So there's our cube. I always smooth it and fillet it just so that it looks nicer when you do your clones and stuff. So we're going to take a torus shape, which is basically like a big donut, and when you work with display and ground shading and lines, you can see the parts that make it up. And so we're going to go ahead and add more segments to this. So that when we clone it, we have more shapes to clone along. So when you do what's called an object clone, it'll clone along these polygons or the vertices where the polygons come together. So like this polygon, or like right here where they crisscross. Okay. And so I'm going to adjust the shape, make it kind of a fatter donut, like that. And then we will make our cloner. So we go to a cloner, boop, and then the cloner is going to ask, what type of clone do you want? And we did a grid the other day to make that fishy underwater effect, and we did a linear to make a soundbar animating. Today we're going to do object. And when you have object, it's going to ask for object right here. What object do you want to clone along? So it'll use this as a template for where to put the clones. So it'll clone it into a torus shape. So you're going to drag your torus into that box right there. So you just drag and drop it. Pop. Okay. And then what you're going to do is put the cube in the cloner. So you got to put whatever you're cloning into the cloner as a child, and then tell the cloner to be what type of clone. So like if we went like radial, or let's turn off the donut here. There's a radial clone, or linear, or whatever we were doing. We're doing object. And in the object clone, we're going to use where it says object. It's going to ask for what object do you want to use. We're going to use the torus. And you can physically edit the torus here as well, or you could go edit the torus individually. It gets the same information. I'll roll that up. Now we have to decide like the count, and then it's going to ask, like right here where it says count, right there. And then it's going to ask on the distribution. This is what I was talking about. So you can do like polygon center, and then it does all the polygons, or you can do the vertex, which is where the polygons, if you can see, where they come together. Okay, it's all going to give you a slightly different look. What I do want to do is turn off the torus afterwards. It could still be there, it just, you turn it off and then it's not part of the whole thing while we're doing our exercise. And then I also maybe want to reduce the my ring segments. I might have added too many, and if you get too crazy with it, it slows everything down. So I'm just going to kind of reduce everything slightly to speed things up. Turn off the torch. All right, so now what do? Well, it's not going to animate or anything. What we're going to do is we just made a clone. So I mean, you've made a shape, but we do want to animate this. And so how can we animate this? Well, we can go and apply a deformer to the object. So I'm going to take a formula and put that inside of the torus. So let's go look at the one that's already done and animate it that way. I kind of went back here because I want to see what I did for my segments there, because I'm getting a little slow on the other one. So I did 45 by 86 by 45. So I'm going to try to copy that because that at least appears to be somewhat a little bit quicker than the other one. All right, and so when I hit play, you can see that it's animating the torus with kind of like an undulating, like jellyfish effect. And this is actually how they make a jellyfish when they animate it, is they apply a formula like that, and they have the little jellyfish tentacles coming through. We're not doing that. We're just going to do like a little motion graphics thing. So what I could do is turn off the torus visibly, this time not with the check mark, but the top dot, and I get that effect. Remember, you want to stop it. I'm going to add more frames to the file here so this could go on for a while. And you can do some fun stuff to this, like you could go to your cloner and apply like a random effector. And with your random effector, we can tell it to be, let's say we just want to do a color change. So I'm going to go to parameters and take off movement, and then just tell it to have a color change here with the effector color, just to kind of like give it some fun. Remember, I have display options with lines, so that's what it looks like without the lines. And you can apply a music effector to this. Maybe you just go to scale and scale it up 1, and then maybe go to the effector. Let's stop it. It's usually wise to stop it and not let it play, and then kind of like do your thing. Let's see, what should we get? Make sure that sound is on the right speakers. You see that, hear that echo? And that it's kind of like drag, that pause. That happens sometimes when your computer's like the processor and the memory is getting too much. And like what you can do is you can just deal with it, because it's not going to do that when you render the movie. It'll actually work out. It's only doing it while it's trying to calculate it live. But I could go to the torus and I can like maybe like reduce some of the segments. This would save memory, that kind of stuff. See, I was kind of sped up a little bit as soon as I did that. I could get rid of the sound effector if I wanted to and just play with that. Anyways, just have some fun with it. You can try some other shapes if you like. Tomorrow we're going to do one more of these, and then we're going to do a radio clone. And then I think we'll probably be done with the different types of clones, and then we're going to move on to some of these other effectors and some of these other objects here. Okay? So I'll put this in YouTube, and then I'll talk about it in class a little bit more.